Good evening. My name is Caleb Wanga. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. So this is a short clip on why there will be few election petitions resulting from the just concluded 2022 general elections. One, of course, is the issue of time. If you look at the rules, and even if you look at the Elections Act, you find that there's timeline for filing of these petitions, and there's even timeline for hearing the same. So for the presidency, of course, we know it's 7 days. Within 7 days of declaration of the results, the petition has to be filed. Now, for the other positions of governor up to member of county assembly, you realize that you have to file it within 28 days of the elections. So there's a problem with this timeline because one, you're just reeling from a loss, okay, and this loss is coming back to back with a grueling campaign period. Some guys started campaigning as early as May, some even earlier, April, even last year, and they've been in a continuous campaign process. Now there's a loss, and then within 28 days you have to have put together a convincing, a compelling, and a weighty election petition. That one would actually lock out a lot of people who feel aggrieved by the results, because even getting the information that's required, gathering the data, the witness statements, the affidavits, and all the evidence might require more time than just 28 days. For avoidance of doubt, other claims, legal claims, if you look at the Limitation of Actions Act, you find that some can be filed up to 12 years, some can be filed up to 1 year, 2 years after the alleged act that's being complained of took place. Of course, the second issue is the finances. If you look at section 78 of Elections Act, you don't just walk to court and file a petition you have to deposit what they call security for costs. So security for costs in the case of the president, if you're challenging the presidential election and you do a presidential election petition to the Supreme Court, you have to deposit 1 million Kenya shillings. If you're challenging the election of a governor, a member of county, a member of National Assembly, then you have to part with 500,000 shillings. And for the member of county assembly, you have to part with up to 100,000 Kenya shillings. That's just in security for costs. Doesn't include filing fees and everything. So you find that you've lost an election, and then of course you're still paying debts, and you're reeling from the financial loss, and then you have to part with 1,500,000, 100,000. That would be a huge deterrent, of course. The other thing is, of course, the issue of costs. Now, when you lose a petition, of course, there's the issue of cost that's involved. In most cases, and if you look at the jurisprudence from election petitions in this country, you realize that whenever you file an election petition and you lose that petition, you have to pay the respondent. And it's not just a small money. You have seen MCS being compelled to pay up to 2 million Kenya shillings. Of course, the figure goes up for member of National Assembly. It goes even higher for the member of Parliament, and higher for governor, and it could even be higher for the presidency. But we've seen that in some of these cases, then the court might not give the cost, but it's a gamble which I'm sure not many people would like to take. And of course, there's the issue of the threshold that's involved. Now you see, with the criminal matters, there's the issue of proving a case beyond reasonable doubt, and then the civil ones, balance of probability. But now if you look at an election petition for an election to be nullified by a court, then there's another level, or another level of proof. That's not an easy one to actually attain, because you have to prove that whatever happened affected the outcome of the results. Okay, so you can make an allegation against your agents not having come in. You can make allegations of forms are not signed, forms are not stamped, and all those things. You might make even allegations that probably polling stations were opened out of time, or maybe they were closed earlier. Okay, but then how did that affect the final result? If it doesn't affect, then your petition is just as good as dead. So yes, many people feel aggrieved from the elections. We have seen the actions of even officials of the IBC claiming that there was some opaqueness in the whole election process. But then very few will be proceeding to court to challenge the result.